Yo, what is up, guys? What is poppin'? We are here with my draft recap for the ITL Season 7. It's finally time. The season will start next week. So the first battles will come to you like later next week or um, early in the week after that. So it should be hype. I was able to recruit the entirety of Mount Rushmore for this season, the four best battlers in the history of the format, including myself, last season's champion Gypsy King, Maddie Brawlig, and Zazo, aka Iron Flash Gaming, who was so kind and took over Leo's, like his 6 foot Hex's team. He like, excuse me, he didn't really want to do the ITL at first, but then Leo had to drop out for personal reasons and like time constraints and shit like that. So Zazo was so nice to take over. So we got probably the most competitive league um, in the in the world right now because obviously depending on how serious anyone takes it, but um, it should be like at least top heavy the best league we ever had. So that should be pretty hype. I'm actually in Maddie's division and Zazo is in Gypsy's division, so that should give us some fuego battles, I would say, but we'll see how it goes. This season we had another like tier-based draft. After this season I'm done with tiers. I will change it to a point-based system. But when we started the draft, like I didn't feel like making making like tiers with points and shit like that. So we just went with what we had last season and went from there. So this season, obviously, Naganadel is around, but we didn't ban Naganadel, but we decided it won't be able to hold the Z crystal. Same with Magirna, so that's like the more busted monster we allow that like that you will see in the ITL, but they aren't able to hold Z crystals, which I think balances them out. Um, but anyway, I got kind of lucky in the randomization of the draft order, and I got third pick, which is pretty high, which gave me a bunch of options to pick from. McGinn and Naganadel went 1 and 2, and then like I had to choose pretty much which one I wanted to take, and I got a mon that I wanted to take for a while, and this is Big Buddy Celesteela here, my boy. Expectations, I name it. I name all my months after songs this after songs this season. So new topic there, no more what's it called? Quentin Tarantino characters or whatever. Daedric Princess I did in the in the NPL, but this time we got nice songs, all by Brian Fallon or the Gaslight Anthem. That should be fun. One of my favorite artists of all time. Definitely should check him out. But anyway, Celesteela, my first pick at number 3. I'm very happy with it. I contemplated Lele for a while, but I figured Celesteela fits my style way better, and I've been dying to use Celesteela for a while now. Um, and yeah, this should be hype. Celesteela is arguably the best mon in the format, in my opinion. It's like such a no drawback mon because it doesn't have reliable offensive or defensive checks. Like, yes, it is checked. Like offensive Celesteela is checked by stuff like, for example, Hippowdon, like bulky grounds, Landorus T, as well. But those usually, like the mons that wall Celesteela usually can't touch it, which is absolutely fantastic. So we got like we got a mon that either like just walls half of the format, or when it's offensive it like doesn't really like it can abuse its counters offensively. So this is like super wild, and I will be very hyped to use it. Yes, I would say it more often will be used in a defensive role, but even then, like it's like such a no drawback mode because anytime you come in, you can usually just spam leech seed or toxic because the only monster like appreciate leech seeds coming in are grass types, and grass types are obviously weak to flying. And with Celesteela being one of my 2Z users, they like don't really want to come in on Steeler. So leech seed on defensive Steeler is always a no drawback play, I would say, unless obviously magic bounce, but there are only like 2 or 3 magic bounce users in the format, and I don't think any of them went drafted. So I should be free to spam leech seed all season long, but we'll see how it goes. Offensive Celesteela, as I said, very underrated threat, I would say, because Beast Boost is a busted ability, and getting a special attack or attack boost every time you kill something is like pretty annoying. And like yes, the only setup move it has is autotomize, which lowers its weight, but it actually heavy slam still usually hits at least with 100 base power, so it still has very strong stab on on its side to punch holes through an opposing team. Celesteela, like the great thing also about Celesteela is that it doesn't need a lot of team support. Like, yes, you need an electric and a fire type check, but you usually check this with with a dragon on your squad. So a dragon plus Celesteela also gives you probably perfect synergy depending on the dragon. The dragon I drafted sadly is weak to fighting, so Celesteela doesn't really cover that weakness because like plus two close combats or whatever from monsters like Mega Gallade can break through Cellar, but I will account for that weakness obviously later. But I don't know if I made if I like did a great job drafting around Cellar because like I already used three of my five transactions this season to like make up for some mistakes I made during the draft, but we'll burn that bridge when we get to it. But anyway, Celesteela like definitely gonna be the backbone of my team. Amazing overall build with one of the best defensive typings in the game. Um, I would say Steel Flying is a better defensive typing than Steel Fairy, even though like I think it doesn't have as many resistances. But the two weaknesses it has are easier dealt with. Like ground I would say, in case of Steel Fairy, is worse to have as a weakness than Electric because Electric types are like checked so easily in the format, and I actually drafted like let's see, one, two, three, four, 5 months that 6 months that can absolutely abuse Electric types, so that should be fun. But anyway, Celesteela here, um, like absolutely fantastic mon, absolutely no drawback, amazing coverage for a Z user, obviously for defensive mon as well. Um, Great offenses for defensive mon as well. Amazing ability, which can make it either unbreakable or really like make it unstoppable offensively. Like run like modest, yeah, or like even like just max special attack and you get a boost, and it's pretty much over. Like nothing really can chew like flash cans or energy balls or fire blasts or air slashes or whatever anymore. So this is nice. I will definitely um, have to like get used to Celestia because I haven't used it yet, but I'm really hyped. I think I can cook up some heat with it too. Some nice sets, but usually you don't have to get creative with a mon like Celestia because it's so good at what it does. And having this mon that is like impossible to break for some teams, just like last season my Mega Venusaur, um, should be pretty hyped. So next up when it got back to me in round two, I sadly didn't get someone that I wanted. Like I really had hope like stuff like Zygarde or Lander T would fall, but I didn't really expect it. I had hope for Mew to fall to late round two, but that thing actually went like sixth overall or something, which was unfortunate. But I decided to draft my boy Hydreigon here. He's coming back from last season, and yeah, I'm happy to use it again. Like last season put in so much work for me. I brought it to a bunch of games, pretty much like every playoff game I would say, and it definitely did its job super well. So it's my second Z user. The only restriction this season is that we can't have Z users from the same tier, and that we can't use what's called that we can't use omni boosting Z moves. But I think that's like that's something every league does. So pretty nice options here with the Z captains and Hydra and Celesteela, and something that opponents definitely have to account for. Hydra, in my opinion, the best like value dragon you can get. I would say like Garchomp is on its level, obviously, but Garchomp is usually more expensive than Hydreigon. For example, in this league, Hydreigon is a tier two, while Garchomp is a tier one, and I decided like I could um, I could easily like um, get away with having a tier two dragon when it's as good as Hydra. So I decided to draft it this season of this week of not this week this season this gen. Obviously it got defog, which is nice, gives me some removal, which I enjoy having because like just having like two or three defoggers makes opponent think twice about bringing spikes. So like my team is not weak to rock, so I will not prioritize um, hazard control as much because like I think hazard control in general is way overrated in the format. Like people are sometimes crying that you don't have like a good rapid spin or some shit like that. Like I don't really care about that. I usually only bring removal if I draft stuff like Zada X, or if my opponent really has like a bunch of hazard setters like a Selgor there, Garbodor there, Nidoking there, so Greninja on the on the team as well, so that like I don't really want to be stacked. But usually, like if my opponent just has Rockers, I don't even care about bringing removal unless like I really have like a Charizard or Talonflame, and even then I could get away with rocks being up. But anyway, Hydreigon here, fantastic stall breaker. Obviously, it can always come in on fat stuff, taunt it, roost up, and pressure it with Dark Foot and Dragon Pulse. Like even if you run like a fat set with like max HP and enough speed for everything, little or uninvested Hydra usually 3 KOs or 4 KOs everything in the format, and can easily like taunt and roost stall stuff. So and wear it down. Like for example, let's take Mandibuzz, which usually choose hits from let's say Specside Dragon fairly well. If you're on Taunt Roost, you can beat this thing 1 vs 1 super easily because can't Toxic you, can't Roost up, and you can just 3 or 4 KO it. With Rocks up, it's going easier even. But Hydreigon also has like a bunch of moves that it can use fairly well. It has a great, an underrated physical move pool, I would say, with Aqua Tail, Earthquake, Crunch, Outrage, obviously like it has fire coverage, which is great. It gets flash cannon, Z flash cannon for fairies to lure them, could be fairly nicely, could work out quite well. Gets head smash for annoying fire types that it might need to check for me because this thing is a thing here, but yeah, like Hydra, most of the time, I won't lie, I will use Scarf specs or Roost 3 attacks or Roost Taunt 2 attacks. Like these are the best sets in my opinion, and they are like no drawback sets as well. Like last season, I brought some nice Dragon Tail Hydra versus Gypsy. I brought T-Wave Hydra as well, but most of the time I went with like Life Orb 3 attacks, Z move 3 attacks with the Roost, and used it. It's a nice bulky offensive pivot that can come in on a bunch of stuff, but also like really put offensive pressure on my opponent. And this like a style that I like to play with. Just going with what's called with offensive pressure, putting pressure on my opponent, prevent him from defogging, for example, prevent him from setting up, prevent him from recovering up, and like just keep the pressure up, force him to switch out, preferably with my hazards up, and um, really like do tons of passive damage, like nice chip damage to put everything in range for either a sweeper or just for my defensive mons to revenge kill those those threats that my opponent has, and then like slowly but surely beating him down. And that Dragon definitely will help with that. Like it's special attacks that is massive. Physical sets are underrated, but not as good. Fantastic both 90, 90, 90 overall. Solid speeds here. Obviously, you always wish that it had like 102 speed, 103, maybe even 110, but we don't want to make Hydreigon too busted. I think 98 is very solid for it. It can still outspeed everything it needs to outspeed to, and otherwise, if there's mons it can't outspeed, can always scarf it and threaten those. So that's cool. That's cool. Mm, really happy with my first 2 picks so far. Next up, I considered drafting Suicune, but really wanted Suicune in the 4th round instead of the 3rd because I want to make sure that I have a great Toxic Spiker to support Suicune when I get it. So, or in case I get it, I decided to draft a mon that helps checking Celesteela's electric weakness, one of the best electric checks in the format, and this is Nidoqueen, obviously. In my opinion, one of the like goat ground and poison types in the form, one of the best fairy checks, I would say. So Hydreigon's fairy weakness is not too big of a deal anymore, which is nice. And yeah, Nidoqueen helps taking the pressure off of like Celesteela switching into fairies, which can be helpful for Hydra. So Nidoqueen also gives me finally a rocker and, like as I said, a T-Spiker. Yes, I don't think you need to have a rocker in your first 3 picks, but it like makes it easier to draft something um, or like to draft later on because you don't have to force yourself to draft a rocker in certain rounds because you fear that they might be gone, shit like that. As long as you like have your hazard options, you should be fine. So Nidoqueen, as I said, T-Spikes, Death Rocks, one of the biggest reasons I got them because like, T-Spikes are super underrated, and with my fat stuff on my squad, T-Spikes can go really in. Like Leech Seed plus T-Spikes plus Celesteela protect spam can be lethal if my opponent doesn't have like the best resistances or like doesn't have like good removal and can really abuse it. So well, Nidoqueen stats, as you see, like are pretty average. Like sheer force obviously makes up for that offensively, and like the bulk is still solid, especially with a great typing like that. Yes, I'm like kind of having an ice weakness right now, but I'm not too worried about ice types because like there are only a bunch of ice types that are good in the format, like Turn Black, Weavile, and Mamoswine. I would say Mega Glalie too, but nobody drafts Mega Glalie anymore, which is sad. But I will have checks for those, so I'm definitely not too worried about that. But Nidoqueen here, another mon with a great move pool, another mon that is pretty much no drawback, or it doesn't have a drawback to bring every week because it can do so much and can like super reliably get rocks. I can run another fast taunter with like Super Fang, nice, nice Zazu special there, but usually like life of three or four attacks or three attacks with the rocks or two attacks. Um, can go in versus everything. Like Nidoqueen and Nidoking have really limited switch-ins, and Nidoqueen can really abuse like more passive stuff with like its decent speed and massive attack and special attacks thanks to sheer force and life. But also poison point is an option. Like defensive poison point versus let's say stuff like Mega Lopunny is always a thing. I could always bring that, but usually like I would say I will bring sheer force more often than poison point. But anyway, this mon helps me like check electric types super easily. Like even Tapu Koko can't really break it unless you're in like Z Nature's Madness, which is easy to scout for, and then like all other electrics, like out of the like electrics that can beat Nidoqueen, you have like Zapdos with extra sensory, Raikou with extra sensory, and Rotom Wash. But besides that, there aren't really like Mega Manectric can never 2 KO, for example, with HPIs if I invest correctly. So most electrics shouldn't be a problem, and with Hydreigon, I can always scout for psychic coverage for Nidoqueen. Obviously, you got stuff like um, Rotom Frost that gets Blizzard that covers both. I can really fuck my defensive core up here, or my first 3 months up, but my Rotom Frost is not a mon, so I'm not too worried. But anyway, I really enjoy having Nidoqueen. Can do a lot with it. Run a lot of items. Run a lot of coverage, a lot of heat sets like Taunt, Disable, Sucker Punch. Like it has some nice techs up his sleeve, and I'm really hyped to have it again and use it. I think I used it for the first time in Gen 7 actually. I used it a couple times back in the day in Gen 6, but I think I never used it in Gen 7, so should be hype, and should put in a lot of work for me. But anyway, next up at this spot, when I originally drafted, I drafted Mega Gardevoir, but I decided to drop Mega Gardevoir, which means I can use this mon as early as week 2. I still have to bring like, or could bring Mega Gardevoir week 1, but I decided to get Clefable here in this spot. If you're watching videos, you know that I use Clefable in the NPL at the moment, like, and it's putting in a lot of work. It's like just a fantastic cleric, in my opinion, and one of the toughest mons to break. Like, I reckon there are some people that think Clefable is underwhelming because it's like its stats aren't that good, obviously, and it doesn't hit hard unless you comment up. But I don't think any of this is true. Like, I think Clefable is absolutely fantastic. Excuse me. I think it like, yeah, obviously it's not running huge charm. I think it can fill a multitude of roles. Like you can run Magic Gut and Unaware, both are absolutely amazing, um, amazing abilities. Unaware, one of the reasons I wanted to draft Clefable because I recognized that when I had my first team, that I was very weak to fast opposing setup because my team was kind of slow and I didn't have a lot of priority on my squad. I changed both of that with having an unaware mon and a good priority user. So I'm way more confident in the squad that I have now than with the squad that I first drafted. So that should be hype. So Clefable here, another rocker, obviously, very reliable rocker. I always find a way to run rocks on this in the NPL, so like it doesn't really need all its move pools because like most of the time you only need like Moonblast, Softball, and maybe Calm Mind, or like Heal Bell or Wish Protect, which still leaves you with one slot left for rocks, so that's nice. Super reliable rocker, obviously, as well, because it's so hard to 2-hit KO, and like monster taunted, like you usually don't appreciate taking Moonblast because fast taunters are usually pretty frail, or in Dragon's case, pretty weak. Like obviously Mew is a thing. Mew can wear it down easily and taunt it, softball stall it, but even then you can run like you can pivot around Mew. Obviously, like shouldn't be a deal, shouldn't be a big deal. So and obviously I got big Hydra there, which can abuse a Feather Mew easily. So not too concerned about stuff like that. But Clefable definitely another backbone, defensive backbone of the squad. You will notice that my squad is fairly bulky. Like most of my squads are. No lie, no lie. I like to build from the trenches out to have like very solid defensive cores, solid answers to the biggest threats in the game. Also, Mega Galate is in my division, which Clefable helps dealing with because yes, Poison Jab does a fuck ton, but Unaware at least lets me Unaware Clef at least lets me deal with a +2 Galate. So we'll see how that goes. I can just Moonblast it, hopefully, and put it in range or all good. But we'll see how it goes. Like Maddie drafted an absolute monster of a team, like his Tapu Leyland, Mega Galate, Katana. I don't know what else. Z Salamence, I think. Like it's absolutely fucked. So Clefable will help to some extent with those mons, but excuse me, we will see how that goes. But anyway, I very happy with the first 4 months that I have. Like I think the synergy is great. Like those two like cover their respective weaknesses fairly well, especially in conjunction with Hydreigon. Yes, I'm fairly weak to ice, but as I said, I will cover that later, and it won't be a big deal, hopefully. So we'll see how that goes. And next up, like I wanted to use this mon for a while. I didn't have like a specific reason why I want to use it with the mons that I get that I got already, but I decided to draft the Sidui, the like the cool grass that out of Gem. I think its design is absolutely fantastic, and I think it's underrated. I used it in Summer Showdown last year, but obviously I didn't make brackets back then, and like I only used it twice. But I actually I really liked its potential, so I decided to give it a shot here in the ITL. Hopefully it puts in some work for me, and I think it will do. It's usually not like the defensive grass type that I like, because I usually like my grass types physically defensive, but I think Sidui um, will like do its role um, do its role like very solid anyway. It still can check, for example, like Zygarde. It can't check Lando if it doesn't run what's it called, Sky Strike. But obviously, like it's better as like a special wall for stuff like electric types for like let's say what's it called for opposing grass types, obviously, which like can give my team trouble if they're subseeding my stuff. Like a fast subseed Superior could be annoying versus me. Shout out to Gypsy for drafting it and like really making me struggle. In my week 1 prep, I actually faced Gypsy week 1. Should be hard, but yeah, I gotta have my answers for that. And the Decidueye takes those mons on fairly well. Also, obviously, gives me a fighting resist, which is good to have. Like not having to like switch into the Fable or Celesteela all the time, or Nidoqueen all the time on fighting type attacks helps like keeping the whole squad healthy, obviously. And having a spin blocker is obviously huge for me because I got already 2 very solid hazard setters, and I plan on drafting a bunch more hazard setters later in the draft. I actually drafted a sticky web user this season for the first time ever, so having a ghost type was very important for my squad, I would say. The Decidueye, very cool move pool, like nothing too fancy, obviously. Like it gets low kick, which is probably the wildest move it gets. I think it gets low kick. Does it get low kick? Oh, low sweep, yeah, same thing. But usually you can get away with like just ghost and grass coverage. Very solid offensive typing. Nothing really resists both of those unless you run like defensive shift tree. But obviously gives me another defogger too. Gives me a haze user, which, as I said, I felt weak to opposing setup, and haze Decidueye can deal with some setup mons like Karma and Suicune, for example. I actually didn't get Suicune. Got sniped by Leo, and now Zaza has it. Fuck me, but it's a nice nasty plot passer, nice plot baton pass. underrated combination. Sword Sense Baton Pass obviously can be a nice sweeper with Sword Sense and Shadow Sneak or Sucker Punch. Spirit Shackle is a great move. I love trapping moves. They are like, I would almost say they are busted. Like Pursuit can be super busted, and I have to take care of the CGI to not get Pursuit Trap on his own. But yeah, like this one is really cool. Like he has a lot of initiative, has the recovery and roost and synthesis, has support and toxic tail with baton pass, can set up. You have to like when you face with the CGI, you usually don't expect it to do much to your team, but you have to account for so many different sets that that can really give me an advantage. You can also run some nice sub curse sets versus fatter teams to like trap them, and with Spirit Shackle obviously, and then like curse up to remove them in their entirety. It gets like all these moves that that only like ghost types get. What's the one move that yeah, like Spite is for example one of the coolest moves. Like lost the PP of the target's last move by 4, which can come in really handy. Warrior Seed is a cool ability too. Cool move too, not an ability, but you can run some nice heat sets with it, and I really want another mon that is versatile as fuck. So right now, like look at my team. I have 5 mons that can pretty much do everything offensively and defensively that I want them to do. So this is pretty nice. Next up, I at this point like I only had God of War as my wish passer, so I decided yeah I really wanted a different wish passer, another wish passer, and I decided to grab my ball Licky again. I know I have drafted this like for the 3rd time in like the last 4 drafts now, but Licky is just too good at what it does. Like I absolutely love this one. Couple like a year ago, I wasn't too fond of Licky. I felt like it was kind of underwhelming most of the time, but I really like learned how good it can be. Like Licky is absolutely lethal to some teams. I enjoyed it a lot in enjoyed it a lot in the IDM. Was one of the MVPs, if not the MVP of my squad. Like was a glue to so many teams, and yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy he's back. Like coverage is insane. Wish Protect is super free because it can't be taunted. It gets knockout. It gets nice curse, nice SD for some really dangerous setup sets. Obviously, nice normal spam is always a thing. Where some teams that don't have a ghost type can like really abuse the normal typing to your advantage. It can be really hard to break because you see its bulk is like absolutely wild. And yeah, it helps me like while it doesn't resist ice, it helps me with my ice weakness because um, it can switch into pretty much every ice beam or ice crash in the format with ease, even though it doesn't get thick fat or anything, but it always can take 2 hits, usually unless you're on like Spectrum Black or something like that. But yeah, Licky helps with like just as natural bulk helps with some of the weaknesses I have. Obviously, checks the ghost types that threaten the CGI, and yeah, like the only weakness it has is fighting, and I have like 3 solid fighting type checks for it. So I think synergy wise it fits my squad well, and just a mon that I'm very comfortable with using. Like right now I have like the CGI that I haven't really used, Nidoqueen that I haven't used in a while, Celesteela that I haven't used ever. So um, I don't mind having like some mons that I just know how to use and I use well. And obviously cleric support on Licky is nice to get rid of burns or paras on those mons. Get rid of freezes on Clefable. If I get frozen, obviously shout out to Gypsy King, the ITL curse is real. But obviously like getting rid of toxics on Licky in general can be nice as well. So it can just wall mons that it otherwise wouldn't be able to wall because toxic stall is a thing. Also gets refreshed if I'm running like an SD set or something, like SD refresh wish and one attack or something could be cool. But yeah, we'll see how I use it. Get some kind of cool moves like counter. But most of the time it will just be a wish passer. I'm not like trying to make anyone think that I run attacking or offensive Licky all the time. But it's definitely an option. Like you always gotta explore those options with like the mons you have. So next up, it's like the 7th mon I drafted. In the original draft, I decided to get Keldeo in the spot, the mon that I really wanted to use for a while, but after looking at some matchups, when I prepped for week 1, I really saw that Kelly doesn't have like the matchups that I wanted to have. So like I was kind of sad when I had to drop it. I can still use it week 1, but I don't know if the matchup is there. But yeah, it was kind of sad when I had to drop it. But I got an old favorite of mine, and you will like if you watch my channel, you will say, yeah, fuck you, Aki, why do you draft this thing all the time? And it's true, like it's true. I always draft it, and it's Mammoth Swine. As I said earlier, like I felt weak to opposing fast setup, and I really wanted to have like strong priority in the back, and Mammoth Swine does just give me that. So Mammoth Swine obviously fantastic timing. I don't know how often I have talked about Mammoth Swine already, but it's like yes, it's one of my favorite mons overall, and it's obviously one of the, in my opinion, even the best wall breaker in the game. I would say. Ground ice is just insane to switch in. It's a very reliable rocker because it threatens so much stuff out. Has solid overall bulk just because of its massive HP. Has like wild attack, a decent speed to like really break the stuff it needs to break. Like you can always run Adamant. If you know me, you know I'm always running Adamant all the time. Never switching it up. I'm always running Adamant Memo, like at least 9 out of 10 times. And yeah, it gives me the wall breaker that I really needed. Hydreigon can be a special wall breaker, but I don't like using it in that role, and Mamoswine just gives me that click buttons and kill something more that I needed, and it can break some stuff that Celesteela struggles breaking. For example, steel types that can wall Celesteela potentially, and this thing can come in on those fairly easily and remove them for Celesteela. Like a well-played Mamoswine with rocks up always gets a kill if it comes in. Like that's the truth. I proved it time and time again. Like Memo's the goat. Like it's the one that I probably have the most kills in my life with. Like I got over 20 kills in the ITL 2 times with it already. I'm fairly sure. Like last season, I think it got 20, and in like season 2 or 3, it got 20 kills as well. Season 3, I'd say. And yeah, like I just love using it. It gives me the strong ice type priority. Another reason, like not gonna lie, I'm not saying I counter drafted or counter teamed someone, but I saw that Gypsy drafted Coco and Holucha, and like Mamoswine, well, it isn't the best Coco check in the world. It actually can do something versus Coco, so it's nice to have. And obviously Holucha, having Ice Shot for Lucha and Unaware Clef for it would be nice, because looking at my team right now, I don't really have an Holucha answer, and I'm fairly sure I will get fucked by Holucha in week 1. We'll see how that goes, but that's what I really think. But also, as I said earlier, I drafted a sticky web user, and Mamoswine under webs. Whew, like there's no more Mew that can switch on me with webs up, or Manaphy that can switch in on me. Like rocks plus webs up mean that it even like Mamoswine even breaks like defensive Mew or defensive Manaphy. So this is nice. Like webs, having webs is gonna be wild for me. Like I never used webs before. I don't know how often I will bring them, but in some matchups I will be sure that like I'm sure that they will put in work, especially alongside Mamoswine and Nidoqueen, uh, which will love having webs up to like do their job and break some stuff. So Mamoswine, yeah, Earthquake, Ice Crash, Ice Shot, Stealth Rocks every week. Maybe some coverage if I can afford to bring rocks on one of those two. But yeah, that's the set I'm bringing. Tell them out there and tell them that Mamoswine is here to come and get some kills. So next up, my sticky web user is gonna be Araquanid. Among that, my boy Vert, shout out to him, recommended. And I was skeptical at first, but when I drafted, I felt that it like really helps Gardevoir doing its job, and it also really helped like Keldeo, so I can run Modest and outspeed some of the faster stuff. Keldeo can't really revenge kill otherwise, but yeah, I recommend it is broken. Like I ran some calcs on Adamant, Water Bubble, Splash Blade or Choice Band, um, Liquidation. It's absolutely insane. Like I recommend it hits so fucking hard. Like even resistances are sometimes 2 KOs if they are not bulky. Like it's absolutely wild. Um, the stat distribution is kind of interesting. Like nice with death, but with the low HP stat, it's really not too bulky. Even though the typing is like great, but the typing is more designed to check physical attackers. I would say, like for example, Water Bug would be a great Mamoswine check or Weavile check, but yeah, with like this that retribution, like it's kind of lacking. This mod is kind of lacking. I won't lie, like I'm not too convinced it's great, but and it's also the only water type I have on my team. I'm not a fan of that. I might have to switch something up so I have another defensive water type. I like having physically defensive water types, but we'll see how it goes. So um, I recommend it. If I bring it, I would probably bring like sticky webs, liquidation, and then whatever coverage I need. Maybe leech life probably or lunge magic code maybe to bounce back some stuff. I can always run Scald. Scald even like coming from a base 50 special attack, if I invest can hit some stuff really hard like just because of water bubble. Like this ability is insane. Like water power is doubled, so liquidation is what is it, 190 or something instead of 85. It can't be burned, which means like you can always come in on Will-O-Wisp, and the firepower against it is half, so it actually is a fire resist, which is nice because like my fire switch hits right now are kind of limited. It's pretty much only Hydreigon, so this thing will help with that. And yeah, but I like maybe I have to do something and get another water type. But having sticky webs for big mammoth one is definitely nice to have. Also gets ice beam, so it can prevent stuff like salamanders from setting up in my face. And like obviously toxic spider web is a pretty nice set for with combination of soak is a very nice set to trap and kind of just like stall out Pokemons. Like you can just spider web them toxic and rest up first them until they slowly go down unless they have like rest or heal bell. But even then, like if they can't really touch me, for example, like a ground type that doesn't run Stone Edge, shout out to Powder, I can like just toxic stall it and go from there. So if I'm able to trap some stuff, or even like stuff like Bronzong, for example, or Wheezing, like those monsters usually don't get toxic stalled. Um, I can trap them with a Raquanid and remove them for like removing Bronzong or Weezing for Mamoswine, for example. But there are a bunch of monsters that I can use it on. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'm dropping it. I'm like not too convinced how good a Raquanid is, but I will definitely give it a shot. So we'll see how it goes. So next up, in his next spot, I actually had regular Aerodactyl, but because I freed up 60 points by dropping Keldeo for Mamoswine, because Keldeo was a tier 1 and Mamoswine was a tier 2, I actually was able to upgrade my 60 point Aerodactyl to a 120 point Mega Aerodactyl here. Definitely hype. Very solid mon. I'm a fan. I've never used it, and obviously, like Stone Edge is a thing, but like you don't want to miss Stone Edge. That's what I'm saying. But I really enjoy it. Some people use that thing, and I definitely want to give it a try on my own. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. It's like what I like about Arrow is it gives me just this game breaking speed. Like base 150 is absolutely insane. You can like run like let's say you run a Jolly and like 100 speed, you outspeed pretty much everything because most teams don't have anything above base 130, and usually like they only have like base 120, base 110, base 115, which you can outspeed easily. Like, what do you need to outspeed a Latios at level 50? Yeah, 60 or 68 EVs. I think Latios hits 180, 178, so I can afford to run a lot of amount of of EVs in bulk, which definitely helps Arrow abuse its rock typing. Like it gives me another fire type check, which is pretty huge. Gives me a nice pursuit trapper. Low-key very solid pursuit trapper, I would say. And as I said, it gives me like that just this nice speed here that even allows me to outspeed some Scarfers, like some Scarf Ember, for example, or shit like that, which can come in really handy. Opponents definitely have to account for its speed. Base 135 attack with Tough Claws after Mega Evolving is absolutely wild. Like you don't really switch into well into crunches, into Ice Fangs if it's a weakness. Too bad Stone Edge doesn't make contact, but it's still solid. Like gives me the third defogger and the fourth rocker eyes, I think. So this is nice. And it gives me a nice taunt roost user alongside Hydra, so another potentially solid stall breaker. even though its typing isn't too great for it. But it's like a mon that like in my experience, all the teams that I ever drafted struggled switching into Mega Aerodactyl if it's surrounded by the right mons, because if you surround Mega Aerodactyl with the right mons, those mons can easily come in on Mega Aerodactyl's counters, like for example bulky water types, which Clefable, for example, uses, which Mamoswine actually can break, because if the water type has to check Arrow and Mamoswine, you're in trouble. You're in trouble for sure. So like electric types, as I said, easily removed by Nido or Mamoswine give me pretty free switches, because Aerodactyl is so strong that electric types usually are forced to T-bolt it or voltage on it, and usually like Arrow even can take like a Scarf T-bolt from some stuff. So like I think Scarf Rotom Heat only does like 70% with T-bolt, or 75 depending on your investment. So you can like easily scout for those attacks with like roosting up. Like if your opponent volt switches on you with like a weaker electric type, you take like 60, you can roost up and still pressure something. So it can be nice. This season in the ITL also we don't have to Mega Evolve turn 1 with Mons unless they change the typing. Mega Arrow does not, so I can abuse pressure and unnerve a little if I want to, which is definitely cool. But not gonna lie, like the reason why I drafted this thing is because, or like why I dropped Mega Guard for it pretty much, was because I wanted to use it, and like I really like the speed, I like the typing, like Rock Flying is very solid, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Like it doesn't have the greatest matchup in my division, but it definitely has a solid matchup. Like it's not bad at all, and I'm really happy to able to use it. Um, I'm really confident I can make it work. I just have to pray to hit my stone edges, but usually I get lucky with those moves. Like last season, I pretty much would have lost had I not hit a hurricane in the semifinals, and I hit it to knock out a Salazzle. So not too worried about low accuracy moves. And like if I miss a stone edge, I can cry afterwards and say how Hex fucked me up. So that's always nice. But yeah, very high for Mega Arrow here. Fits on this team quite nicely, I would say. Even though like I'm doubling up on ice weaknesses, electric weaknesses, my mons that like check ice types, electric types, like they do a solid job doing that. So I'm not too worried at all. But as I said, I might get another water type to help with the ice weakness, because I'm not sure if I trust the Reckoner to do the job. But anyway, second to last one, my first tier 5 is Frostless, another mod I had last season, and a low tier spiker that I really enjoy. Gives me a second ghost type, so Rapid Spin probably won't do too much work with me, but we'll see about that. And yeah, mod that gives me spikes. I definitely wanted a spiker because like I've ran some cards like with spikes up, Nidoqueen puts in way more work, this puts in way more work. It makes it easier for Celesteela to sweep. Mamoswine puts in way more work. Arrow with spikes up is lethal. Liquidation from Bandit Direct when it is lethal with spikes up. Like spikes can really fuck up my opponents like badly, I would say. It's um like Frostless is like obviously a mon that functions more as a suicide lead, but I can like make a bulkier set probably work that can come in once or twice on some weaker stuff. For example, like uninvested skulls from bulky waters. I can spike up versus those. Take one or two hits. I got the ice buddy, which even like if someone hits me, I might be able to like um, disable its attack so it can't 2k on me, for example. Gives me a nice speed here, something between 150 Arrow and 98 Hydra, which is a speed tier people have to account for. It gives me a potential Scarf that helps me revenge stuff like um, plus one, um, what's called Salamence, for example, plus one Dragon Knight, stuff like that. So this is nice, like because this thing doesn't revenge, for example, plus one Salamence, this thing does. So um, that could come in handy. Also, like ghost typing, offensive ghost typing is actually underrated. Yes, it only displays 80 special attack, but I could run some nasty plot pass into it. I could just like specs it and fire off some nice hits. And like not a lot of teams have great switches for ghost types, so I can abuse that fairly well to my advantage, I would say. But most of the time, it will come as a spiker, maybe Willow with Fuser. I could run Hail plus Aurora Veil, but not sure that this is the wave, but Destiny Bond, obviously, Speedy Destiny Bond can help. Gets light screen, which is nice. Gets decent coverage with like Shadow Ball, Ice Beam, and Thunderbolt. Usually you don't need more than Bolt Beam to hit everything. Gets Switcheroo to cripple stuff. Gets Taunt. Like I got a bunch of taunters, like I think like 1, 2, 3, 4 taunters that can put in the work. I don't know. I don't think this thing gets taunt. No, it does not. But that can really help me with like breaking bulkier stuff because outside of Mamosman I don't have terrific breakers. So taunt and wearing stuff down definitely will help versus bulkier squads. I would see how it goes. I'm definitely gonna use this thing more often as like a suicide spiker than not, but it has some merit in the format as like an offensive ice type, an offensive ghost, as like a kind of bulky mon that checks some stuff. But I might drop it as well. As I said, like I'm not too convinced about the Requiem being my only water, only bulky water. I might try to get a lower tier fat water type, but we'll see how that goes. So that's Frostless here. And the last one, as I said earlier, I wasn't convinced with Decidueye being my only grass type because I like my grass types physically defensive for sure, and like I want to take some pressure off of Decidueye because in some matchups where you have like a chance with Decidueye as a defensive grass, your opponent can have like a Pursuit Trapper which removes Decidueye and really makes my squad weak to, for example, opposing ground types that like after he traps my cell or something, or like just mons that like for example strong water types can fuck me up when you look at my team. So I definitely want to like have a mon that mm, can beat water types, or like just another bulky grass that allows me to play around some threats more easily. And this is more I'm really hyped for this. This is my boy Kriadine here, Kriladine. I don't know even how to pronounce it, but this is the goat. Like I ran some calc and I wasn't sure. Like I had to pick a tier 5, and I wasn't sure if I want to get Tangela or Killadine, but I figured Killadine is nice, especially if I'm considering dropping Frostless. It gives me like a very fat Violet user and it gives me another spiker. So considering I want to keep the pressure up with Hazard, Killadine definitely can come in handy here. So gets nice bulletproof, makes me immune to Focus Blast, Shadow Ball, Sludge Bomb, which is nice, like it's ultimate Gengar counter. I'm just kidding, like because Sludge Wave is a thing, but I can switch into some of those attacks, which is super nice. So pretty hyped to use it. Both is super underrated. Like yes, HP is not that great, but um, physical defense, like with an Violet, you hit like 220 base defense without even investing, without even having like a bolt or impish nature. So this is wild. Its move pool is actually pretty solid. Gets a nice bulk up, nice especially defensive bulk up Killadine. Gets Drain Punch, obviously. Like sadly it's not Step, but I like the pure grass type nonetheless. Gets Super Fang, it gets Seed Bomb, it gets Pain Split Synthesis. Does get Spiky Shield? No, it does not, but it gets Spikes, obviously. Gets Raw, gets Taunt. Not a slow taunter, but yeah, like it gets all the moves it needs to have. Like can run a bulk up set, can run Endeavor to lure some slower stuff when you're weakened. Gets Rory Seed as well, so gets Iron Defense if you really wanna up your bulk. But like I think bulk up can be a very lethal set, but Super Fang is probably the best move on it because it's kind of weak. Super Fang or Seed Bomb when you like invest in attack or something. But this more like obviously gets Leech Seed. I can form a nice core with Leech Seed spam and Killadine and Celesteela. Can support the team quite nicely. Like Leech Seed protect, Super Fang and Raw or something, or Toxic really can really be annoying to break. Like it definitely does like similar stuff than Tangela would have done, and just more heat than Tangela, so I decided to draft it. But anyway, like I would see if I like make a move here with one of my lower tier mons, but I definitely want to use Killadine. Like shiny is so great. Like this mon has like a sick design. I love it a lot. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. That's my squad for the ITL this season. Pretty happy with the team after the drops, but like it still has some holes. I would see how it goes, but hopefully puts in quite some work. Like as I said, the season starts next week, and we face Gypsy King week 1, so might cop another loss, but definitely hyped to start off with like the finals rematch, and have a shot at redemption after losing to him in the finals. But anyway, this is my squad for ITL. Got Celesteela, Hydreigon, Little Queen, the Fable, Big Decidueye, Big Licky, Memo, nice Araquanid, Mega Arrow, Frostless, and Killadin. So yeah, definitely should be hype. Let me know in the comments what you think of the squad, and yeah, we'll see how the squad performs. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I know it's been a long video, but I hope you enjoyed nonetheless. If you did, leave a like and a comment, and I catch you in the next video. See ya.